Unlike the glamorous fights we see for a few hours every Saturday, the confident identity and common purpose which characterized so much of the lives of our hunting ancestors emerges once again in the rituals of the football fan. Armed with their common colours and a battery of tribal songs, the fans set forth into rival territory. Although the older generation look upon them as being nuisances, in their own eyes, they're defending the identity of their group. And they're ready to risk this venture into strange territory to display their loyalty to their team. Based firmly on home ground, the rival supporters are even more vociferous in asserting their support for their own brave hunting pack. The match begins, and the descendants of a species whose whole nature was shaped by the strategy of chasing and capturing their prey watch these ancient pursuits acted out symbolically by 22 modern heroes. It's a kill, and the visitors taste the fruits of victory. As the game continues on the pitch, another game is acted out on the terraces. Like most normal human aggression, much of it is ritualized and easily settled. And despite the impression we're often given, the vast majority of soccer hooliganism is no more substantial than this. In any case, fortunes are soon to reverse. It's 2-1 for the home team, the final score. This unruly energy is often mistaken for a childish lack of discipline, instead of being recognized as a symptom of an essential stage of exaggerated group loyalty through which all young humans must pass. Of course, sometimes the tension does spill over into real violence. But even in these overheated situations, when closely observed, the actual physical aggression involved is revealed to be minimal. Except for a tiny minority of disturbed individuals, the whole ritual is about displaying the potential strength of each group. Still, scenes like these can be deeply disturbing to outsiders and are often strongly criticized. Our society has little use for this fierce and primitive loyalty.
Would find Pisarenko an interesting study. Now, Dr. Morris, you'll recall, is a zoologist and professional observer of human nature, best known for his book, The Naked Ape. He's now turned his attention to soccer, having been a director of Oxford United since 1977 and currently their vice chairman. Now, this is his latest book, The Soccer Tribe, being published tomorrow, and in it he's come up with some remarkable theories about the game. Now, as the title suggests, he considers our national sport to be the 20th century equivalent of ancient tribal rituals.
There have been some obscene suggestions lately that something as important as a soccer match should really be an afternoon of family fun with the kiddies. Now, I personally have been making observations of the soccer tribe performing its rituals and its ceremonies, and I can assure you that a soccer match is much more important than family fun. In fact, what happens here in the center of the tribal territory on Saturday afternoons is a shared ordeal in the male longhouse, a shared ordeal in which the males come together to suffer agonies of apprehension and anxiety in the hope of a few moments of transported ecstasy. Now, if you think that's exaggerated, you only have to watch the faces of people when they come to football matches. They are not having a picnic. They're having a quite extraordinary reenactment. It's a reenactment of an ancient, primeval pattern of our species, the primeval hunting pattern in which bands of males went out looking for prey to kill them to survive as a tribe. Now, today, of course, the event is symbolic. The band of hunters has become a team of players. The prey has become a goal mouth, and the weapon has become a football which has to be driven into the goal to kill it. And here, on this sacred turf, in the temple of the tribe, the ceremonial display ground, surrounded by its soaring totem poles and its male longhouses, it is here that a very special human symbolic event occurs. The soccer tribe explodes into one of its major expressions of joy, the triumph display. The tribal heroes celebrate their kill in a frenzied outburst of abandon, leaping, and embracing. It's a peak moment of tribal life, and it is enjoyed to the full, with all physical barriers down and all the usual inhibitions swept away. When a player has scored a vital goal, he often races down the pitch in a scoring sprint. The elation of the moment fires him with a sudden burst of energy that demands expression, and his teammates are forced to run after him to offer their congratulations. Many goal scorers feel the need to hail their supporters with a raised arm salute. And some go further, exaggerating the gesture into a leaping air punch, in which the raised arm beats the air in a symbolic blow, as if hitting the vanquished enemy over the head. A collapsed goal scorer may be raised up by his companions in a concerted gang lift operation in order to facilitate embracing him. To the amazed eyes of some elderly spectators, players sometimes crown their embrace with a kiss. These are the triumph displays of the soccer club. This is one of the parts of the tribal territory that most tribesmen never get to see. This is the Holy of Holies, the inner sanctum, the boardroom. Every soccer tribe has its tribal council, and here the tribal elders gather to discuss and to tell all the tribal tales. There are many tribal cliches that have to be regularly intoned inside this room. Prayers for promotion, the spells cast against the fears of relegation, and all the other ritual stories that are told between the elder males of the tribe. Now, because these are sacred stories that are being told in the tribe, it's absolutely essential that no women should hear them, and women are completely forbidden to enter this room. There's another room a little way down here where women are also forbidden. That is the players' dressing room. And this is where the tribal heroes will prepare for their ordeal out on the pitch. Hanging on the walls are the tribal costumes, awaiting the moment when they must be donned for the next great encounter. Now, because players in soccer today, professional players, face chances of injury which work out at one serious injury per 13 games played, that means it is a fairly daunting business to come in here and get dressed and go out onto the pitch. So it's quite natural that these tribal heroes need certain kinds of protection, and they get two sorts. Firstly, their own superstitions. This dressing room just before a match will be full of small superstitious practices. One player will be dressing in a particular order, another will have to come through a particular door, another one will be putting on a lucky charm, another one will be slipping something inside his boot, another one will be bouncing a ball, another one will not be touching a ball under any circumstances until he gets outside the room. When they line up to leave here, they will be in a special order. There are last outers and first outers and number 9 outers, and they have to arrange themselves in a special sequence as they move out onto the pitch. Now, the other way in which they get protected is from the magic of the tribal witch doctor. Every tribe needs its witch doctor to cast spells and work magic. It's his job, through sheer strength of personality and a few ritual incantations, to convert a team of cynical, hard-bitten professional sportsmen into a group of possessed fanatics, ready to give their lives, or at least their limbs, for the tribal cause. The soccer manager must be able to transform what might be seen as just another day's work into a dedicated crusade. To do this, he must, like all good witch doctors, be part hypnotist, part psychiatrist, and part sorcerer, for he can never set foot himself on the field of play, and can never influence the game directly. Everything he does must be carried out through indirect influence of a kind that can be wantonly ignored if his players have not been brought under his spell. The manager is the tribal scapegoat and stays with the club on average for no more than 3 years. After poor results on the field, he is sacrificed on the tribal altar. Like the primitive witch doctor whose people are suffering from a great drought, despite his repeated rain-making magic, he becomes a despised figure and is shown no mercy. I was half joking when I decided to call my study of the football world the soccer tribe. But the more I went into it, the more I studied the world of football, the more I realized that it truly is a tribal world. As I moved from Barnsley to Bali, looking at football matches in every corner of the globe, I discovered that everywhere it's the same. Everywhere the tribal followers come together for these special moments, very often at the end of a rather humdrum week, when, gathering together in the tribal territory, they can enjoy moments of great tension and excitement, putting back into their lives something that has been missing for a very long time. That something, of course, being the excitements of the ancient primeval hunt. Now, because it's that important, I'm not at all worried when I hear people moaning and groaning about the crisis in soccer, about how fewer people are attending soccer and soccer is full of problems of violence and trouble, because I've noticed going around the world that not only do 146 different countries play the game, not only did 1,000 million people watch the last World Cup final, that's a quarter of the entire human species, the greatest audience in human history, but also the intensity of interest remains as high as ever. And I'm convinced that as long as mankind is concerned with more than mere survival, the soccer tribe will have its place.
The ingenious Desmond Morris.